Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 38 of the Nerdy Things Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Kevin. I am joined, as always, by Jules. Hey, Jules.
Heyo.
I didn't hear Jules.
You didn't hear my
Jules.
heyo? I
I
heyo.
didn't hear your
Oh,
heyo.
I'm sorry.
You know, there's some sort of delay with the something that you do.
Something that I do. Okay.
Something that you
I'm
do.
doing
Yeah.
it, apparently.
Do you have a noise gate or something
No,
in your setup?
Yeah, in my voice, that's what I have. I have a noise gate in my voice, just
You
so it's
no,
always on.
You can't see it, but I'm giving you the finger right now.
Okay. Well,
No,
it's just us two. Not Tim. Tim's gone. Tim's dead. He died in the storm in Boston. But really, what happened up there? What? Yeah, I saw a picture of a tree on a truck, and Tim's doesn't have power. He's not here. What's going on over there?
Yeah, it was the windiest storm. It was nightmare stuff. I mean, not windiest, wasn't a hurricane, wasn't anything like the country's been through recently, but for New England, it was pretty darn bad. Took down trees everywhere. Tree fell in front of my place, landed on my neighbor's truck. Majority of it was just leaves and twigs, though. There's not a scratch on his truck. However, there's whole swaths of northern Mass that still don't have any power, and Tim
Jeez.
happens to live in that area. Fortunately, like 5 minutes down the road has power, so he can go to a supermarket and get food, whatever, but there's just no electricity at the house. He spent most of the day yesterday without a phone, charging it, I assume.
Wow.
Just trying to, how do you live now without the
Right.
the basic comforts of the internet era?
Ooh.
So
you go to your furniture store and live there.
that's you know what? Absolutely.
That's definitely
That's
what
pretty
I would
much
do. Just
pretty much
charge
exactly it.
everything. But,
Yeah, but the movie we have now is Jigsaw. So
oh,
I'm going to say no.
really
I'm going
wanna
to
see
pass on that one. No,
think-
you don't.
I think I'm gonna go see it today. But if you kept up with our Instagram stories, Tim was updating pretty much every time he had no power. He ate a ton of ice cream because his fridge and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I guess. And, if you're going to be without power for a short amount of time, don't open the fridge. If it's going to be longer, you can open the fridge and eat whatever's in there. And
Yep.
Tim did.
he ate all the ice cream. So you definitely should have been following us on Instagram and all that stuff. Don't forget, you can reach us on most social media at Nerdy Things Pod. That's Nerdy Things Pod. You can send us an email at nerdythingspod@gmail.com. You can visit our website, nerdythingspod.com, for the latest nerdy news, updated daily, and links to our YouTube to watch the podcast episodes, our Patreon for extra content like bloopers and early access to our stuff. And you can text us or leave us a voicemail at 978-78-NERDY. That's 978-78-63739. And I think we have a voicemail this week.
Indeed, we do. Let me just pull it up here. So let's see if I can get this to play.
It's Tim calling from the Massachusetts apocalypse. I have no power. Now 3 days. This means no entertainment, no heat. It's freezing.
Oh, no.
No lights. No podcast. I miss you. I need help. Send help. Send money. Send food. Send power. Please send power. I don't know how long I can make it. Farewell. Maybe for the last time.
He's so
Oh,
dramatic.
No. It sounds so distressed. It's a distress call. That was his final call. I don't know why he called us and not 911, but
No, seriously, like I feel like I maybe should have played that before I revealed that there's like a supermarket half a mile down the road that has power. But you know what? He dug his own grave.
Yeah,
That's
there you
fine.
So if you want to send us money to help Tim with power, definitely go to nerdythingspod.com. There's a place for Patreon, like I already said, and you can give us money to help Tim not die and get to his Nintendo Switch, because I'm sure that's out of power already.
Yeah, although knowing him, he may have brought it to work just to charge it. So whatever.
For sure. So this week is a little different. You can already tell. We're going to get into nerdy news as always, and that's what we do every week. We get into nerdy news, and then we do a main topic. If this is your first time listening to us or watching us, because you can watch us on YouTube as well. You find us on YouTube at Nerdy Things Pod as well. But we get into a main topic later on at the end, and this this week, since Tim's not here, we didn't really want to get into a main topic, the one that we had planned. So we do have a interview that we're going to play for y'all, which me and Kevin did as well, with the Dumb All Over podcast, which is kind of a political podcast. And they're super cool guys. And we got to interview them and talk about politics in pop culture a little bit.
Yeah,
it was.
I mean, that's the thing. Their podcast is a progressive political podcast, and I love them. I don't like to talk politics much outside of certain channels, but this interview with them didn't get too political. So even if you don't like charged subjects, this should be fine.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I wouldn't be a part of it if it was like super crazy, but like I really enjoy them and I really like their podcast. That's one of the political podcasts that I do listen to as well. I only listen to like 2, and that's one of the 2 because I can stand them. They're super cool, they're super interesting, and they don't talk about politics the whole time. So yeah,
they talk about beer too.
Talk about beer a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of it. Not a lot of
Very
movies
nice.
though. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But let's get it going.
So yeah, it's time for the nerdy news.
Nerdy news.
At 6 o'clock.
All right. So first thing on the nerdy news this week, MoviePass has changed their terms of service.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They are. They're making it so that they've put language in it that says that they can limit the number of movies you see per month. Because as it stands now, you can see 1 movie per day. And they've changed it so now you can't see, or you can't see the same movie twice. But if you see too many movies in a month, they may limit how many movies you have the ability to see.
Okay, so you have the ability to do a movie a month. I'm gonna go see 1 movie a day. I want to see a movie every day. They're like,
Yep.
Here, this is the service that we're providing for you. This is what you're paying for. The ability to see a movie every day. Okay.
Yep.
Well, hold on.
Nope.
Well, actually, no. We're actually gonna change that. If you are seeing a movie a day for a whole month, then we're not. We're gonna cancel your movie. Like, what is that? That's so stupid.
We didn't think anyone would take us up on that. I mean,
yeah.
we were shocked by that. No, you know what? I get it. I mean, this is the type of thing. They're doing this for other reasons. And really, this is, I think, more to limit the people who are getting a movie pass and then them and their friends are using it.
Oh yeah.
And just, sort of multiple people using the same thing, which would be part of the thought process behind not being able to see the same movie twice. At least that's my interpretation of it.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe I'm way off.
Because as we talked about it when it first came out, it's mainly for them to gather information to sell to advertisers and all that stuff. And that's mainly what they're doing. It's sort of an investment on this sort of new way of taking a poll of how people watch movies and all that stuff, kind of getting information from an actual audience. And yeah, that definitely makes sense for them to be like, well, let's kind of chill out on that. And people are gonna abuse it a little bit. I'm sure they knew that. And I'm sure they're already getting information from that saying like, oh, well, people are watching the same movie every day for a week. And I don't know, this seems kind of shady. Like, why would you do that? Oh, maybe you're giving it to somebody else. Maybe you're having somebody else use it and giving it to your friends and all that stuff. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to tackle the extremists that have been doing that or taking advantage of that. So, it's okay. I still don't have one. I think Tim said he was gonna riot if they took his away or something like that. But have you been using yours like pretty frequently?
Not as frequently as I would like.
Mm-hmm.
It is the type of thing where, if I have a movie to see, I'll go see it. Other than that, most of what I want to see, I actually get at work. So, I mean, as I said from the start, as long as I use this twice in 3 months, it's paying for itself. If I use it more than that, great. So I'm keeping it, at least until the price goes up. So I'm happy with it. I won't change it. But I've used it 3 or 4 times since I got it.
Very cool.
Yeah. We have some news too following the sexual abuse scandals coming out of Hollywood. We haven't talked about much, but in the wake of all of that, it has recently come out that Kevin Spacey is part of this as well. And in retaliation or response, Netflix is canceling House of Cards. at this point, I think it's effective immediately. Originally, they were going to finish season 6 and put that out, but I believe they've halted production on season 6 at least until they can sort of talk to everybody and make sure that that's a okay and culturally sensitive enough thing to do.
Sure.
But they go ahead.
After they announced they're like, it's gonna end season 6, this is it, whatever. But then recently they put out a statement. They're like, well, we're gonna chill out on production for a little while. We're gonna contact the parties and all this stuff and talk about it for a while. So I mean, they're I don't know. Are we gonna get like half a season? Are we gonna get half of a new season and that'll be it? Or are they gonna figure out how to tie it off? Or are they gonna finish the season up? Or I don't know. What are you thinking, that they're gonna just finish it up and release it and that's it?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna. As far as I can imagine, I would imagine it would go one of two ways. It's either that they're going to reach a decision that they're just going to continue. They'll finish season 6 and then end it, and they may do, because they're already working on spinoffs, and they may do something centered around. I don't know if you watch House of Cards, but Doug Stamper, the guy that was the campaign manager or whatever.
Sure.
So if they do that, I mean, I could see them maybe having something in the first episode of that sort of wraps up or eliminates characters from House of Cards, the original. Yeah. No, just sort of as a way to be like, that story's done. Now we're moving on to this. Mm-hmm. Or they're just never going to release season 6 and we just have an ending. That's it. We're done. Because that may be, depending on how people feel and what the extent of this is, that may be the right move. Yeah.
Or they can just kind of allude to a season 6 and brand a new show as the House of Cards spin-off somehow. Netflix does really well with marketing and stuff. I'm pretty sure they can figure out a way to do that. Just start a different show. Say this one's canceled already before they release season 6, and then somehow work that story into something that kind of finishes off the House of Cards storyline, and then just makes an entirely new spin-off show. And I'm sure people will be on board because they know what's going on with the whole Kevin Spacey thing, and I'm like pretty sad about that. Sad about not just that House of Cards is ending, but that somebody that I really like as an actor sort of did that stuff. But yeah, I really, a lot of people like House of Cards. It was one of the staples in Netflix, their whole catalog and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it was one of the ones that really launched their original stuff. For sure.
But speaking of spinoffs, they are apparently working on a spinoff of What We Do in the Shadows, which I don't know if you're familiar with that, Jules. Have you ever seen that?
Not too familiar with that, but it does seem a little off the wall and a little bonkers.
It is spectacular. It is from the creator of Flight of the Conchords. Yep. Stars Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords. The director of Flight of the Conchords, the creator of Flight of the Conchords, is Taika Waititi. Mm-hmm. So this is a movie by Taika Waititi, the director of Thor Ragnarok, which is coming up.
Yeah.
Releases tomorrow for anybody listening to this on Thursday, in the US at least. Mm-hmm. But they are working on at least one spinoff for that, and there's talk of something else, but they're doing something involving there's two cops in What We Do in the Shadows, so they're doing a spinoff of that where it's like Cops meets X-Files type of thing, which I think is going to be spectacular.
Yeah.
There's talk that they're going to be doing a werewolf spinoff of the vampire movie, which I think would be spectacular. And they're working on an American version of What We Do in the Shadows as a TV show.
So
I'm in.
Yeah, I mean that's
I'm in.
From what
I'm
I've
in
seen,
100%.
it looks pretty ridiculous and it looks pretty awesome. But like, I don't know, where did this guy sort of come from? I'm looking at his like IMDb and all that stuff, and he's done some things, but now he's the director for Thor Ragnarok, kind of out of nowhere.
But that's what Marvel has been doing. I mean, look at James Gunn's catalog before he was James Gunn for Marvel. Sure. He did Slither. He did that superhero movie with Rainn Wilson. I'm pretty sure that was him. And that's about it. Like, he was, what was it? Scream Queens or something like that. Like, he was a weird off-the-wall director that had a niche. Marvel was like, we like what you do in certain ways. Gave him that freedom, and boom, you've got James Gunn. Taika Waititi is the same damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy who did quirky, off the wall, but really like creative and polished for their limitations things. And I think that just speaks volumes for this man's abilities and creativity. Great. Let's do that. Give him free reign. Let's see what he can do with this, because I loved it. And I didn't even realize there's another one called Eagle versus Shark that I have not watched, but it's been on my radar for a long time.
Yeah, and he also
did
the In-Betweeners.
Jermaine Clement, Taika Waititi, how can you beat it?
For sure. Yeah, the In-Betweeners a lot of people really liked as well as a TV series, and I didn't know he directed that. So, okay, definitely, I'm on board. All this cool stuff, give him money. Give him more money. Why not?
Right?
Make him.
One of the other
things
things he's talking about, he wants to do, or he would like to see a Black Widow Marvel movie that's a comedy.
So is this sort of where he's doing the director run of interviews and he's just talking about stuff and then people grab it and they're like,
that's exactly
okay,
right.
Cool.
But I would see. I don't think it's going to happen at all, but I think it would be a great idea.
Sure. Yeah,
I would want to see that.
Yeah, I'm glad he put that into my head because I would never have thought about it if he didn't say it. Black Widow as a comedy, sure. Why not? That's crazy. Yeah, he's definitely off the wall. Some of his stuff is super interesting. If you don't know what Flight of the Conchords is, In-Betweeners, all that stuff. I'm pretty sure all that's on Netflix. You can just check that out. I know the In-Betweeners was on there for a while. But all his stuff, and then of course Thor, the new Thor that's coming out this weekend or in a couple days.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was the other thing he said on this press tour, is that he would, if he directed another Thor movie, he wouldn't want to do Thor 4. He'd want to do Ragnarok 2.
What? What is that?
I don't know. I'm not.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, no, but I think it's honestly, I think it's more continuing a story he has started than anything else. I think it would be more small scale, because doing Ragnarok 2 rather than Thor 4, it sort of sets the expectations differently. You're doing a sequel to a movie, not a fourth movie in a series.
Sure.
And so I think that would be, much better. Yeah, I mean, I that's at least, again, my interpretation of it.
Yeah.
So,
and from everything we've seen so far of Ragnarok, as of the time we're recording, of course, we haven't seen it. We've just seen the trailers and stuff. I'm totally okay with what he's doing. And if he wants to make a Ragnarok 2, whatever Ragnarok is and whatever that storyline is, sure, bring it on. And I'm totally cool with it. Hopefully with some more Hulk stuff, because I'm sure the Hulk and Thor banter is going to be pretty awesome.
That's going to be spectacular. Oh, yeah. Especially now that Banner can banter.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Banner can banter.
Yeah. Well, speaking of spin-offs and second movies and sequels and other movies in the series, apparently the Flash movie, Flashpoint, is going to hinge on Justice League's success.
Okay. So going on the other side of the spectrum now, we're talking Justice League. I really like Ezra Miller. He's the one that's going to be playing the Flash in this new Justice League movie. I like him as an actor and all that stuff. I really do think he can carry a Flash movie, especially from
100%.
what I've seen and all that stuff. But again, do we need to see Flashpoint again? I don't
want Flashpoint.
No, I don't even like the Flash. I don't even know a whole lot of Flash stuff, but I've heard about Flashpoint 10 different times. They did it again in an animated series a while back. They did it once or twice. They did it on the series on CW, right? I think they did it in the Flash series, or they're going to do it again
for some reason.
I get what they're doing. I get the story. It's super crazy stuff that happens and all. It changes everything and all that cool stuff. But I'm sure the Flash is more than just Flashpoint. We get it. We get it was a good story, but
I mean, Flashpoint didn't come along until recently, but before that, Flash was just a guy that ran fast. No, seriously, every villain he comes across, it falls into two categories. In the Flash, it is either another speedster who is definitely faster than him every time, or it's someone that he should be able to defeat every single time within seconds, but for some reason doesn't. And this is like the Flashpoint was a way for them to sort of add more definition to him, because it's all about, so the Flash has a trauma when he's a child and grows up to be a forensics analyst because of this. Struck by lightning, chemicals, speed, great.
Boom. Yeah.
In Flashpoint, he travels back in time, saves his mom, and in doing so loses his Flash powers because there was no reason for him to do what he was doing, and then comes back to the present because he had the powers until he got to the present. It's never really
Yeah.
Speed Force.
Uh-huh,
All right.
sure.
And then loses his powers, and the reverse Flash, who somehow still has his powers, shows up, and he thinks it was the reverse Flash that fixed everything, screwed everything up, blah, blah, blah. It turns out it was that he saved his mom, and it's a mess. It's a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to go back and kill his mom. Yeah, which is really great stuff. And they don't always do this right in everything that they've done. And great, just don't do that. Give me something better. You have the tools at your disposal to make Flash a better character.
Mhm.
We've seen Grant Gustin in The Flash on the CW, and there are times when that show is great, and there's plenty more where it isn't. But you have the ability to rewrite this story, start something new, DC. And on the other side of that, have enough confidence that you are going to be able to make a Flash movie without hinging it on the success of something else.
Sure.
Seriously, you know what? I've complained that they have too many movies in the works, and they do.
Uh-huh.
But they should be focusing on the ones that people are going to want to see, and Flash is goddamn one of them.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be one. If it was some like off-brand, some other DC character, then sure. Like he was in Justice League for a little bit. You check out the response of it on Twitter. Like, are people hashtagging this other character? Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, maybe we'll think about doing that movie then. Not the Flash. The Flash is one of the guys. He's one of the guys.
I mean,
like
they're working on a Black Adam movie with The Rock. They're working on Shazam, which that was just announced that it's going to be Zach Levy that's going to be playing Captain Marvel in the Shazam movie. They're working on a Nightwing spinoff that no one knows about. They're working on the Joker and Harley movie. They're working on Gotham City Sirens.
if
They're
anything,
working on
all of those need to be on the hinges of if Justice League does well, not Flash.
and I'm sure all of them are, but at the same time, like, god damn, move ahead with Flash and worry about the other.
Sure. The other ones need more help, I think, than Flash. Give Ezra Miller free reign to just ad lib. I'm pretty sure that's kind of what he did in Justice League, anyways. Just give him here's the story, here's a new story, here's a new Flash story. Make this like a aftermath of what Justice League is doing. Sure, do that. Why not? And
right, like
give us some other
this
cool
is how
stuff.
we pick up the pieces,
Yeah.
and that's why he's in distress, is because he's trying to pick up the pieces from Justice League and someone else attacked. Like, there's so much story you could do with that, but you'd already have to be working on it instead of doing Flashpoint.
Yeah, it's like Flash movie, Flashpoint. Okay, let's do it. And it's like, no, we could do so much stuff. But yeah, as we said, Zach Levi is going to be the adult version of Captain Marvel, or what? Yeah, in the Shazam movie.
So Captain Marvel, it's going to be the Shazam movie because they can't call it Marvel because Marvel won a lawsuit 1 million years ago. But he is Captain Marvel, and he is his code word to change from the boy Billy Batson to Shazam or to Captain Marvel is Shazam, because it's the story of this kid who finds a wizard in a cave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're not getting
yeah.
into it. But come on, that's just not the best.
Yeah. I'm
and
totally okay
Zach-
with Zach being it.
Yeah,
could have been
it's
anybody.
fine. I mean, I think he'll bring humor to it. I think that's something DC needs. I think that he's got the look. He needs to bulk up a little bit, but he will. I think he'll be perfectly adequate for this.
Sure.
It's it's going to be a movie. I'm going to see it. Maybe thanks Movie Pass, maybe not. Who knows?
Hopefully it'll be another Doctor Strange, because I really love Doctor Strange, and I didn't
Right?
know much about it, and I don't know much about Captain Marvel, Shazam, whatever. So hopefully it'll be that. Maybe it won't. Probably it won't, but we'll see. Let's get away
Yeah.
from the superhero stuff. I think I'm done with
Oh.
superheroes.
So, Jules, I got a question for you.
Sure.
If you were casting Ace Ventura, who would you cast as Ace Ventura?
I thought about this for about 5 seconds since you've asked.
Mhm.
And honestly, one name that came out for some reason was Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Ooh.
Oh, which is kind of weird, and I kind of
That'd be
like that.
weird.
I don't know why, but like I think he can kind of pull it off. Maybe not. Of course, it's never gonna live up to a Jim Carrey, but
No,
it's
it
gonna.
can't.
It's something like that. I'm pretty sure he can get into that kind of humor a little bit, but still keep his own way about him. So I think maybe him. That's the first name that came to my head for no reason, but
The only thought I had was Zac Efron. My
Zac-
old fallback.
Zac Efron, sure. The
But I think it
Rock,
works.
Uh-huh.
He's
yeah.
got Zac Efron's got the hair though. He's
okay,
got
yeah,
the hair.
That's.
I could
what you
see
meant.
that working.
I don't really
You
know
know,
good young comedians
No.
anymore. I was gonna say like Steve Carell, but he's kind of old already, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who's young
Jim
enough.
Carrey. No, wait, sorry.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, apparently they're working on an Ace Ventura. It's, great. I'm
Sure.
happy for them.
That came along with a few other ones, right? Because Morgan Creek Productions rebranded itself to Morgan
Yep.
Creek Entertainment Group, which if you've watched movies or shows or whatever, they had Morgan Creek and the little river that ran through it as their logo, and that came up as the beginning of some movies and stuff. But they're going to be doing some other stuff, but the main one is Ace Ventura. Of course, they're going to reboot all that stuff. They said, let me read here. We wanted to do a mainstream theatrical production relaunch. And because, it's episodic in its nature about a pet detective, it also lends itself to a traditional single camera series franchise. So they want to do something with the Ace Ventura name. Again, this is getting into what everybody's saying when they buy or they change or they, as the years go on, they want to reboot, they want to do this other stuff. But Ace Ventura was good as the movies. Ace Ventura, there was a cartoon that I watched as a kid, Ace Ventura cartoon that I really liked, and that was probably the extent of how much I wanted to watch it. Like the movies and the cartoons, and I'm good. I don't need a reboot. I don't need a single camera series.
No, I mean, but we're in the age of reboots, Jules. That's all we can watch now. That's it. Young Guns, Major League, Ace Ventura.
We should have a segment. This is the start of the reboot segment. What should it be called?
Right?
The Nerdy Things reboot. We should call it Flashpoint because we're starting
Flashpoint.
over.
Yep. Pet Cemetery. They're working on a Pet Cemetery reboot.
Okay.
That has a director now. And that's great. I'm on board for that.
Did everybody remember Stephen King was a thing all of a sudden? Like he just kind of Dark Tower, the It and all that stuff. They're like, oh yeah, Stephen King had a lot of good stories. Let's
wait, he's still alive?
Yeah.
That's so weird. Yeah.
He's not doing
No,
cocaine
I know.
anymore. Yeah. Okay.
What?
Let's do some stuff with him again. Oh my God, Pet Cemetery. I'm okay, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to feel.
Apparently, it's Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer. They've been tapped to direct it for Paramount.
Paramount's doing it. Okay, maybe, but still.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, I've said this before. Stephen King has a very, I don't know, like 1980s storytelling style.
Sure.
Even now, even the things that come out now, it's like, oh, this is a movie from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, if they update it, like they did a fantastic job updating it. And if they continue to do that, great. But I just don't have the faith.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Nah. Yeah, I don't know. It does seem like it's always going to be taking place in the past for his movies because they all have that sort of authentic thriller, weird creepiness, but they don't have cell phones and things like that. So I'm pretty sure it's always going to be taking place in the past. And I don't know how many more 80s movies, 80s things we can take. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. Speaking of which, Lethal Weapon 5 is coming.
Oh,
now,
so it's going to be the TV show adapted to a new movie, right?
No, because that TV show is pretty good.
Really?
No, this is going to be Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and they're back looking at the possibility of doing number 5 because apparently trying to retire for 30 years is still not taken for Danny Glover.
Getting too
He's
old for this shit.
he's back. I've been too old for this shit for 30 years now. Nope. Nope.
So
That
old.
fight in the rain with Jet
Yeah.
Li almost killed you. You know what? Maybe stay dead this time.
So they got another guy to be in my show, and it's a TV series, but we're still coming back as a movie. So Lethal Weapon 5, apparently everybody's on board for this, and it's gonna
Including
happen.
the director, Richard Donner,
Uh-huh.
who directed the original Superman movie with Christopher Reeves, is back, baby. He's gonna direct.
Oh boy, you said the Lethal Weapon show is good. I
Yeah,
did
the
not
Lethal
expect
Weapon
that.
show is actually pretty damn
Okay.
good. Yeah, it's you just have to kind of lean into it, but it's got some good actors in it. I mean, I love was it Damon Wayans, and the other guy that they got for play Riggs is just he's doing his own thing with it, which I think just is what you had to do in that
Okay.
situation.
Sure. And yeah, I mean, Lethal Weapon 5, sure, bring it back. Why not? I mean, I think my first instance of Lethal Weapon was on a VHS tape, so let's keep it going. Let's get Lethal Weapon 5 out there
Right.
so I can watch it in theaters.
And if it's not good, we can just quantum leap back and change the past to set things right. Because they're doing another one. They're doing a Quantum Leap movie reboot. And that the script is apparently written for that.
It's
So
already done? Oh my
That's-
god.
great. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. He apparently Donald Belisario, the guy that created the original, has worked on a script for the reboot for it. And he's just hoping to get that picked up.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. No. But I don't know. We'll see.
So
And,
those are all the reboots and all the things that are coming back. And let us know if you're interested in any of those, or if which one kind of you're not looking forward to, or one of them really sticks out to you, or whatever. At Nerdy Things Pod on Twitter. And did you ever watch Quantum Leap? I mean, that was
I
kinda
did.
like a
I
nerdy
loved
thing.
Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, Quantum Leap was one of my favorite shows.
Huh.
It never made any sense to me, but it really worked.
I think that's kind of everybody else. Had the same idea. It's like,
Yeah.
it works. Yeah, it's a good thing. So yeah, that was kind of our reboot. That was Flashpoint from Nerdy Things Pod. All the reboots and all the cool stuff that are coming back, rebranded and all shiny and new again. We have some stuff for the gaming corner at the end. All this game stuff came out, which I'm super excited for. The Last of Us 2. Do you know a little bit about The Last of Us, what that game was about? Because it was kind of a landmark game in how it was made and how it looked and the story and all that stuff. Everybody really loved it. Do you have any play? I don't have a PlayStation, so I never really got to play it, but
I do. I have a PlayStation. I am embarrassed to say that a couple of months ago I bought The Last of Us, and it's still in the original wrapper. I haven't opened it.
oh no,
I haven't even put it in.
Oh, but
Yeah,
okay.
I mean-
they released a new trailer for it, for Last of Us 2 that came out. Sony or PlayStation did like a whole Paris conference or something like that in Paris, and they announced so many things, and it's kind of crazy, the trailers that they brought and all that stuff. They still have another conference that is their own that's coming up later this year, so I don't know what they're going to do about that, but they did have a lot of stuff to release this past week, and it's pretty cool. So the Last of Us trailer looks super gritty, super intense, and the last time we saw The Last of Us, it looked good. It's been a while, but this just looked amazing. The first thing that jumped out at me was how realistic this looked and how good this looked. I mean, since from the beginning, them dragging the person, she was like, the way she hit the ground, the way she hung, all that stuff, it just looks so realistic. And they were like one of the pioneers of their characters being mocapped to actual actors and things like that. So definitely they're bringing that back, bringing that realism in, and it just looks super gritty, super intense, and definitely hyped for the new Last of Us.
Yeah. I mean, the one I'm hyped for is the Spider-Man for PS4.
Oh boy. Yep.
That looks, I mean, honestly, I think they've done a good job. Just judging by the trailer, it looks like they took the best elements of the Batman Arkham games,
Yep.
distilled it into Spider-Man, and just let it loose.
It's
I
definitely
was
a cross between the Arkham games and the old Spider-Man 2 game for PS2.
oh,
Because that was a fantastic one. I think that was the best Spider-Man game, in my opinion.
honestly, you're not wrong. Like Spider-Man games have been pretty consistently good. There's been a couple of flops, but
Yeah.
they've been pretty good. There was the one Shattered Dimensions, I think it was, that had the 4 different Spider-Man you could play as.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That was an amazing game. That was another one that kind of borrowed a little bit from the Arkham play style, but not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And this sort of expounds on that. So I'm real excited for that. That's something I'll be picking up.
And with it showed more of the Miles Morales, Peter Parker kind of thing, and they have both of these characters. A lot of people were talking about the way Peter Parker looked, and he looked really indistinguishable between like what he was trying to be. Because like for me, Peter Parker, of course, always Tobey Maguire, but there's been a ton of Peter Parkers since, and they've been saying that this model that they used for Peter is kind of a mashup of all the Peter Parkers, and I can kind of see that. It's just kind of
he's like a
person.
generic everyman.
Yeah, which is what Spider-Man is anyways,
and that's what it should be. It's more about the mask than the person behind it, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and this game looks pretty fantastic, and the gameplay and all this stuff. They didn't show a whole lot of gameplay, but they did a lot at E3, but this one was just kind of like hey, we're still here, we're still doing it, stay hyped, and definitely still hyped. Another one which I had some mixed feelings about was God of War, the new God of War trailer. So my background with the God of War series, I was like early adopter. First week it came out, I got it back on PS2 and all this stuff. I played through it. I played through the other games. Went over to my friend's house to play the newest one on PS3 PS3 because I never got it. PS4 and all that stuff. And I don't know, this trailer just didn't get me hyped for this whole the way this character, this character evolution. I really liked Kratos. He was awesome. He was great. He can kick ass. Now he's an old man, and he has a son.
God of War was one that because it was a PlayStation exclusive at the time when it came out, I had Xbox only. And so it was one of those that I always like looked at and was like, oh, I should get a PlayStation to play this. And every time, like I finally got a PlayStation 4, and I just didn't want to, go back and play one of the old ones. There wasn't a new one out that really looked appealing, and I just never got around to playing God of War, and this doesn't make me want to.
No, I think they set it up too intense to start. At the very beginning, he becomes the God of War in the first, spoiler alert, he becomes the God of War in the very first game, and from there it's like only so much you can do with the character once he's achieved like a god status sort of. And they kept knocking him down, they kept putting him into different situations. You don't have the Olympus chains or whatever that he uses, his main weapon. They did a bunch of that stuff and switching around, changing up the mechanics a little bit, but still, this one is the most different, I think. You don't see, in this new trailer, you don't see Kratos jumping around, you don't see Kratos going crazy. You see an interactive sort of gameplay between you and your son, and that sort of interaction's cool, but he's an old guy now, and I don't want to see my heroes be old. Like
No.
Over the span of my lifetime, he's already gonna die.
No, this is why you never meet your heroes. They are old.
That's true. And they're sad, and they're mad, and they're mean sometimes, but
yeah.
So
we are in some happy news. We are getting Rocket League on the Switch this November 14th.
Very
so
cool.
2 weeks. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I will almost definitely be buying that because Rocket League is it's spectacular.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be their own dedicated server, right? It's only going to be on the Switch for Switch players. It's not going to be like cross platform into PC or anything. I don't think so. That's cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, as much as I'd want to play with other people and increase the player base, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not like you're really ever going to find that many people.
No.
You can have them get it on the Switch too. It's fine.
What other Switch stuff is going on?
Well, Mario Odyssey beat out the sales for Breath of the Wild as the UK launch title.
Nice.
So that's fine. That's great.
Oh yeah.
It's now the best-selling launch title of the year in the UK. But it was beat by Assassin's Creed Origins as overall for games in launch week.
Which is
I think it's just that more people have access to things that play Assassin's Creed Origins.
sure. Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah, the Mario Odyssey is only confined to Switch, whereas, Assassin's Creed Origins is pretty much on everything. So that's kind of what what I'm relying on. Hopefully that's what it is, and not that people think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
It looks pretty, but again, I don't know. Ever since the first couple Assassin's Creed games, they've all been kind of broken to me and sort of unplayable because of how bad it is. But Mario Odyssey, yeah, I think it's looking like Mario's gonna be the game of the year, or in contention with the Zelda for game of the year. 2 titles for the Switch are in contention for game of the year. It's really intense, and Nintendo's coming back in the console game, and I'm pretty excited, and that's really cool. We are super Nintendo heavy on this podcast, if you haven't noticed already from the past episodes, but really I think they are like doing something right, and they knew what they were doing with the Switch. They know what they're doing, and hopefully they can keep this going forward. And yeah, you had some game time on Mario Odyssey. I'm sure we're going to talk about it later, so we can get Tim's thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, actually, after we record next week's episode, Tim and I are going to sit down and actually record some video from the game of us as an extra for everybody listening.
Awesome. So I'm sure you can get that early if you're a patron. Again, patreon.com/nerdythingspod or nerdythingspod.com. You can get some exclusive stuff. I posted some pictures of Kevin and Tim in their Halloween costumes from years ago. So that's something that we did. So we get exclusive content and stuff over there on Patreon. Something that a lot of people are excited about, PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, is coming to Xbox in December. About mid-December, and man, a lot of people have been waiting for this, and a lot of people are going to be excited, but then a lot of people are going to be sad because it's still going to be super buggy, I'm sure.
It is. I mean, this game hasn't been released yet still, and it's
and it's getting an Xbox launch. Yeah, I mean, it's just taking they're playing on the moment of what it is. It's the most played game in the world pretty much right now, so they're just definitely trying to get more people on it, trying to get more money, because you can pay and stuff, and I think there's microtransactions. So yeah, definitely cool. PUBG is coming to Xbox. I'm sure you're excited for it. And one thing that a portion of our listeners are probably excited for, that I'm not excited for, new Destiny DLC. They just announced what it's going to be called. It's going to be called Curse of Osiris. So if you're still playing Destiny 2 DLC Curse of Osiris is coming out probably before the holidays, because they want your money, and I'm not the biggest Destiny fan, so that's my take on it. I've never
played it. I feel like I should, but I never have.
Yeah,
so
I honestly, you would probably like it. I just didn't really like it because of the
I just don't have the time. That's what it is. I know I'd get addicted. I have other things to do. I've got between the podcast, and I just acquired several hundred comic books that I'm going to try to turn around and sell. So
God damn. Yeah, that's what I
get
do
other
too.
projects.
Yeah, that's what I do too. It's like I know people are like, did you do this? Did you watch this? Whatever. I'm like, I know I'm going to get addicted. So no, I consciously say, yes, I know I will like it, but no, I can't
Nope.
because I will lose all of my time.
Yep.
Which
There you go.
is what has been stopping me from getting the Switch, because I know I will lose everything. So I'm holding it off as much as I can. Now, if somebody buys it for me for Christmas or something like that, okay, sure.
The Switch is a little different because you can play for 5 minutes and stop and pick up where you left off. So
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
mind. I don't mind. The Switch has brought me back to gaming.
I could have been playing
So
it this whole
I'm fine
time.
with that.
We were talking.
Oh,
Oh man,
I have been.
You just see there's gonna be a where Tim usually is. It's just Kevin's gameplay been playing the whole time on the YouTube video. Yeah. That's pretty much it. If we missed something that you really wanted us to talk about, if there was some
Let us
huge
know.
news, let us know on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at NerdyThingsPod, at NerdyThingsPod, and we'll get back to you. We'll talk about it. Maybe we'll put up a Patreon exclusive about it. But if it's something you really want us to talk about, you should let us know. Or if you have any comments on what we did talk about, let us know as well. You can do that, or you can text us or leave us a voicemail at 978-78-NERDY. That's 978-78-63739, and we'll always play your voicemails, whatever they are, or read your texts on the podcast.
That's right. So that is pretty much it for the news. Let's get into the main topic. So as we said, this week's main topic, we're going to have an interview with the Dumb All Over podcast. As I said, they are a progressive podcast. It is Tom and Austin, and they are from Pennsylvania. You can find them on iTunes. You can find them on Blog Talk Radio. You should search for them if you like what you hear. They are amazing guys. They are very funny. Hopefully we will be on their show soon. And I think that's pretty much all the lead in we're going to need. I'm going to start the interview with them in just a second.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special segment of the Nerdy Things podcast. Today, we're lucky enough to have the hosts of the Dumb All Over podcast join us for a small interview and some conversation. Tim isn't able to be here with us while we're recording this. It's just me, Kevin, with Jules. Hey, Jules.
Heyo.
And the hosts, Tom. Say hello, Tom.
Hello.
And he is joined, as always, by Austin. Hello, Austin.
Hey, what's up?
Not
First of all,
much.
I got to say this to start off. You said you're lucky to have us on? I don't know about that. You haven't. You obviously haven't listened to our show.
Now, I think we're pretty lucky to have you. I listen to your podcast every week, and I think it'd be nice for our listeners if you could just give us sort of a rundown of what your podcast is in your own words.
Oh, go ahead, Tom.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, first of all, thank you for listening to our show every week. I'm not sure how you do it. I don't even listen to our show every week.
It's true, he doesn't.
I really don't.
I have to.
We are
Always
a
editing.
political podcast, a progressive political podcast, and for those who are not into politics, being progressive is off to the left-hand side, the correct side.
The better side.
We talk about a lot of stuff. We talk a lot about politics, religion. We cover religion almost every single show. We have a pretty good fan interaction section. We're supposed to talk about pop culture, which has happened like twice in now 40 weeks.
Yeah, it's
But,
going to happen more, though.
It will. So
Yeah.
we cover pretty much anything, and we try to make light of a lot of situations, all while drinking some lovely craft beer, which we are
Yeah.
also doing right now, too.
Yeah.
As per
I mean,
usual.
from what I've heard of your podcast, this is I think craft beer is the key point that puts them all together, all of your episodes together, and I really like it. I really enjoy it. So if you enjoy craft beer as well, this is definitely a podcast for you. And these are the guys you need to talk to about this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
because
You guys get funnier as you
they've
get
been
more
drinking.
and more alcohol in you, so that's definitely
yeah.
that's a good thing.
Yeah. I know. Sometimes I wonder a lot of times we should save some of the worst stories for the end. Because sometimes we start off sober and I'm like, I don't know if I can handle
I know.
this.
Yeah, they'd be easier to
And-
handle then.
And 10 weeks from now, we'll be hitting our 50th episode, which is our first big milestone. So I anticipate a lot of alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to be
Oh,
a very
boy.
strange episode. Yeah. So
50
one
shots.
for the calendar there.
I have a feeling I'll have to be drinking to get through listening to it, so yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah. No, it's 100% true. 100%.
So for everybody that's listening to this, they've made it seem like it's really super heavy, but I'm gonna say I'm not as loyal a listener as Kevin, but I do listen to your show. But it's not really that heavy, which is really cool, because a lot of these podcasts political podcasts, people that call themselves a political podcast, they always say they go super deep into it, and it's super a downer, because like I already know shit's going on, like this is really down, you know. But your podcast is really cool, where it's just kind of it's cohesive, but then it's all over the place as well. It doesn't, stay to super like, oh, Trump did this. They all take questions from Twitter and all this stuff, and it's really entertaining. It's really fun. So it's definitely not just like super down. You made it seem like we talk about politics, religion, sometimes pop culture. No, it's actually really interesting. So that's super cool. What y'all started in early January? Was there a reason why? I think I know the reason why, but
go ahead, Tom.
What was that about?
I think it was a day or two right after Trump was inaugurated as president. So pretty much, if you want to track the presidency as far as how many weeks, because a lot of people are like, oh, how long has he been president? Just find how many episodes we've done, because he's been president now for 39 weeks. This is 40, because we're on our 40th week.
As a matter of fact, I think the first one was called the inaugural episode,
it was,
right?
Yeah.
So definitely he has a big reason. We have to thank the president for our show.
No, we don't. We don't have to thank him.
Oh, boy. I wouldn't say all that.
Well, we try to keep it as light as we can. We have this idea in our head that our podcast is supposed to be like you're talking to your friends at like a bar setting. It's not overly professional, and that's done on purpose, believe it or not. So we try to keep it as light as we can, because like you said, if we keep everything serious, we probably would have, like, drank ourselves into a coma by now. You have to keep things light in today's world.
And the more it's being the downer is more just for us from our point of view, because we have to take all this stuff and make it not terribly depressing,
right? Which is
hard.
It's really hard to do.
Well, the laughter helps, and really, it does work. It does lighten it up. But I have to ask, like, what makes you two think you're qualified to do a political podcast like this?
Oh, we're not.
Oh, no.
We're 100% not.
Okay.
We just like to complain. We like to complain,
Nice.
and I have a bunch of professional audio equipment.
That's pretty much it. We're very outspoken. Austin and I have different types of outspokenness. I guess you could say I'm way more in your face kind of outspoken. Austin is more to himself outspoken. But either way, we have
We're just like the
strong
opposite
opinions.
of outspoken, but that's okay.
Right. Shut up, Austin. But we have strong opinions, and one day, because Austin and I started this off because we used to like write screenplays together.
Yeah.
We were trying to write screenplays, and then one day Austin's just like, hey, you want to do a podcast? And I'm like, no, okay. And we just sat down and started shooting the shit, which if you listen to our very first episode, it's very awkward because it literally happened. He just said to me, hey, let's do a podcast. I'm like, sure, let's prep it for like 2 weeks from now. It's like, no, we're going to do it like now.
Yeah. Well, just because I was so mad. I was so mad at what had happened over like 6 months that I felt the need to rant about it.
We're not qualified. Not qualified at all. No.
I mean, we keep up as much as we can.
Yeah.
And I think, like among the average person, I think we know a lot more about politics than they do.
Yeah.
No,
But,
see, we're the same way
sure.
with nerdy stuff. I'm not at all qualified, but I can keep up with some aspects of it.
There you go.
And Tom, I mean, you're a history major.
Yeah, I
So-
am. I am. So that kind of stuff always appeals to me.
It brings
anyway.
you a slightly different perspective.
I'm looking at things like we're writing the history book as we're going on. So
Yeah.
not us personally, I mean like as a country. So it's kind of interesting to document this crap.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, were you guys
Nice.
politically active prior to doing this podcast in any way?
In some ways, I mean, I personally got more politically active at the beginning of the primary season, early 2016. I started going to rallies and canvassing and all that. But I don't know, Tom. You always had opinions about politics for pretty much as long as I've known you.
I've made friends and I've lost a lot of friends because of politics over the years.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm one of those. And I think I started really like campaigning for politicians. From Pennsylvania Senator Bob Casey was the first one I actually went door to door as like a 17-year-old to try to get him some votes or at least spread his name. So that's the limit to my activeness, I guess. But as far as speaking about politics, everybody knows me for either playing golf or politics, which is strange.
That's
but
how they know you. It's true. Yeah.
Well, most people. But yeah, not overly active for either one of us, just outspoken in our own ways.
Well, okay.
Sure. That's a lot of parallels between our sort of podcasting niche of nerdy stuff, because again, our first episode was super awkward and we weren't, I don't know, we're all in our own nerdy ways, you know, in our own thing. Like, I know Kevin and Tim are super into movies. I'm sort of into gaming, and I'm sure y'all have some, political stuff that y'all are super diving into, and that's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what podcasts do you listen to? Any other podcasts, and what other podcasts do you listen to that are not political, or do you listen to just political podcasts like yours?
I'll start with me.
Just yours is enough.
Let me start with mine, because Austin listens to far more podcasts than I do. And it's just because I just don't have the technology, believe it or not, to do it all the time. And the work that I have, I don't really have time to do it most of the day. So normally I just listen to podcasts when I'm trying to fall asleep and stuff like that.
Sure.
I listen to mostly political podcasts, I'm not going to lie. But I am starting to branch. I just started listening to this one podcast called Bedtime Stories, I think they're called, where they just talk about like creepy stories. It's like a 15-minute podcast, which is perfect for my attention span. So I listen to a 15-minute podcast and I'm good to go. But as far as podcasts, this is all Austin's.
Oh yeah. I listen to a bunch just because half of my work that I do, I spend a lot of time with headphones on, so there's always podcasts playing. And I think what started me listening to podcasts was Mark Maron's podcast, actually.
Okay.
At WTF.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I branched off from that to, I think when Serial came out, then it seemed like everybody started listening to podcasts. And so I listened to Serial.
Oh, yeah.
And then I listened to The Majority Report, actually, with Sam Cedar. That's what got me into political podcasts. And I listened to that. I listened to a bunch of atheist podcasts. I think Cognitive Dissonance was one that gave me the idea to do this.
Yeah, I mean, our shows, there's some similarities. There's some similarities.
Yeah, I've heard you mention them before.
Yeah.
But if you guys are listening, we've tried to message you like 55 times to get on your show, so just putting the word out there.
Cognitive Dissonance is not going to invite us on the show.
Well, they're going to have to eventually, because they're going to get so tired.
You never
of me.
know.
All right. But yeah, there's that Scathing Atheist, God Awful Movies.
So a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. And then of course I listen to your podcast and Film Roast are the two.
Oh my
main.
God.
Yeah.
So those, I like those. And I started listening to We Hate Movies recently, which is pretty good.
Austin, this is, I mean, we got to move on eventually.
I know. I'm a big fan of, I was when I was young, a big fan of Mystery Science Theater. And so all those podcasts that make fun of bad movies, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, those are the best. That was my original idea for a podcast, was just to find the worst on Netflix and just watch those, but I just couldn't commit every week. It would have killed me.
There's a lot of,
we
there's
found
a lot
some
of
bad
bad
ones.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, please. We'll go down that rabbit hole someday on our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be an episode.
That'd be fun.
For sure.
But I did want to have a little bit of a conversation about some representations of politics in pop culture, just so that we can mess with Tom.
Okay.
So, Tom, have you seen the X-Men movie?
Well,
The X-Men movie?
The
It's
X-Men
funny that
with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, the first one.
it's funny that you mentioned that, because no, I have not.
Oh, that's so weird.
Ooh.
So you should definitely watch that movie, if only just for Senator Robert Kelly, who is just all about disrespecting mutants' rights. He's basically trying to gain power over this minority group. And it's really kind of interesting, because originally the X-Men were written as a representation of the LGBT community and how they're shunned and they have to hide. And so for that, I mean, it's sort of like still very culturally relevant. And so you have this politician who hates anybody that is LGBT or different and wants to. I mean, it sounds so fantastical when you say
Eradicate
it out loud.
them? Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not
until
something
you
could ever
realize that you're
imagine
talking
happening.
about. Until you realize you're talking about the Trump administration.
Oh, that's right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Alias me.
Except- Except they don't turn to
They
water.
made a movie of that
That's
already?
true.
Ooh.
That's true.
I honestly had no idea, about any of that, which is not
Oh,
surprising.
really?
Yeah.
You didn't know?
It's totally a thing. Wait, what? I don't know what this Kevin Tom feud thing is. What is this about?
All right.
I'm curious.
So this all starts when Austin and I were a little overly intoxicated, and he asked me if
boy.
I
You're gonna have to be more specific.
I forgot what episode it was, so that's all you're getting from me. And we start talking about movies because Austin asked me if I've seen this movie, and it was a mainstream movie, and I was like, no. And then all of a sudden, I get this idea. Go ahead, Austin. Tell me, list another movie. I'll tell you if I haven't seen it. And he just went down a list, and Lord and behold, I have seen like nothing
Yeah, I know. It makes me sad.
at all.
Yeah. I mean, this all started with the email. Tom needs to rethink his life because I needed to
That's
yell
true.
at you
Yeah.
for that.
Yep. That is exactly how the email is titled, by the way.
And it's funny because we get a lot of comments on from some of the people we've had on, especially the two skeptical chaps that can't believe that you haven't seen Back to the Future.
Yeah, I've never seen Back to the Future.
It's a culturally
Oh, no.
defining trilogy. How could
Yeah.
you not see it?
He's on the bandwagon now too. You heard?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
Tom,
yeah.
have you seen V for Vendetta?
No, but it's funny that you mentioned that because Austin gave me that DVD about a month ago.
I gave you the Blu-ray.
The blue, whatever.
You're old
Needs to
now,
be good
Tom. You
quality.
can't call it a DVD anymore.
He gave me the VHS, and
Oh, I just got a VHS the other day.
I don't even think
Yes.
VHS were around when that came out.
it's called a joke, Austin.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
But no, I haven't seen it. It's collecting a lot of dust on my Xbox, but I will watch it.
Well, you relax when they. Well, tell them about the show you're doing.
Yeah, so Austin and I both have our own solo podcasts that we do that are like associated with Dumb All Over. And mine is called Affirmative Assessment, and I just rebranded it a little bit, so I'm having my first season, which is movies I have not seen. So I hold a poll on Twitter, and it's movie genres. Whatever genre wins, Austin gets to pick a movie from that genre. I have to watch it, and then I have to do a show about it. So, like, last week was horror. That was what won, and Austin picked a movie called Pontypool, which I'm upset about. But have you guys seen Pontypool?
I have not.
Can't say that I have. No.
Well, now look how the table has turned.
Whoa.
So yeah.
So wait, when's your episode coming out?
Wednesday.
All right, so when that comes out, we get to hear about it.
I'm not sure
And I'll
which
have to
Wednesday.
watch
That's
it
what-
just so I can keep up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, you can hear my assessment of it first if you want, and then make a decision because you might not want to see it.
Oh boy.
I like it.
So that's one of your other podcasts. What's the other one that you're doing?
Oh, mine is well, first it started out as a show called Single Shot, where it was basically going to try to cover all those stories that we couldn't cover in the main show, because at the time it seemed like news was dropping every 5 minutes. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
for
the one
sure.
time we finished a podcast, like we literally finished, I hit save and I was editing it. And then on your drive home, I saw like, giant news.
Giant news.
Fall. It's like, what the what's
Big
going on?
news.
And so I was like, all right, I need, something where I can cover even the rest of this. And then I did 2 episodes of that. And the second episode I did, I don't think I'll ever be able to top it.
No.
So I decided to change direction. And
Pivot.
now I'm doing a podcast that I review music of artists that are generally unknown. And that one's called Music is the Prime Mover. And so that's what I'm working
Oh,
on
nice.
now. Yeah, and that
Yep.
the first episode of that comes out Monday, October 30th.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then we have another podcast that we
That's
do
true, yeah.
called Modern History X, where
Yeah.
we take lesser known stories in history and we cover those and just
Well, you do, and then I make fun of you the whole time.
make fun of me and the story, because I find because like I said, I'm a history major, so I find research like extremely exciting, which I know is pretty lame, but I find a story and then I research the shit out of it. And some of these people, if you haven't checked out Pod History X, just for the stories alone,
Oh, yeah.
it's a short podcast, so it's only like a half hour. The stories, some of these people that you'd never hear about in history are absolutely hilarious. They're hilarious. So yeah, 4 total podcasts.
Nice. That's a lot of work.
Very cool.
I mean,
Yeah,
so,
it's ridiculous.
before I yell at Tom again, Austin, how long do you spend editing these podcasts every week?
Well, let's see. The main one takes usually about 5 hours to edit
Oof.
and upload and all that. Yeah, I usually do that Thursday night after I get home from work. And then, actually, I taught Tom enough to be able to edit his on his own.
Yeah, and I think I
So
do
I
a
don't have to
decent
deal
job.
with
Yeah.
that.
I mean, you can tell, but it's fine. It works.
Yeah, you definitely can. It's a big difference.
And then, Pod and History X, that one takes me about an hour and a half. It's only a half-hour show.
Yeah.
And we're actually, with that one, we're pretty good at not
Yeah.
messing around too much.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like our main
Because
show.
a lot of times we just come in, like we have a set day and we just knock a couple episodes out. So by the end of it, we're just like, let's just get this over with. Like, just do it. Yeah.
But yeah,
Power
then
through.
So all told, it's probably like 7-8 hours for the whole thing. And then the music one, I'm still working on editing that, so I don't know how long that's going to take every week, but
Oof.
it's a little
Well, good
more
luck to
involved, yeah.
If you need an undiscovered artist, I am right here. And thank you for coming. I'll be giving free interviews for the next month, and then my prices are gonna change. So you should probably get on that. Just saying.
Well, if you have music to send it over.
There you go.
I listen to a
Boom,
bunch. I try
got
not to
you.
do interviews with the actual artist because I don't want it's supposed to be music critique.
Okay. Yeah,
and
yeah,
event
sure.
usually you separate the subject from the medium.
That's Austin's polite way of saying no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Said
can
no.
send
That's,
music.
No,
so that's
yeah.
a hard
If it's
no.
music recorded, you send it, and I'll give you my
Okay.
opinion.
Well, all right.
But then you will
So have to be
both
careful.
speak to each other again.
Yeah. I'm just gonna send over audio of me pretending to like answer questions, and you'll use
There you
that.
go.
Like,
Okay.
yeah. Uh-huh.
I can do that.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right. So one last movie or movie series. Tom, have you seen Star Wars?
Oh no!
Oh,
this
boy.
is a problem. This is going to
It's gonna
cause a
hurt.
strife in our relationship already.
I feel. Hold on. Before he answers that, I feel like our nerdy audience is gonna just bombard them
Yeah.
with tweets
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff. Oh boy. Okay. Is this why you asked them to be? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
this is why he asked me to be. This is why
This is
he
why.
asked us to be on.
This was all
Yeah.
a
Cool.
Yeah, and I was prepared for it. I was prepared for it. No, I have not seen Star Wars. I have never seen one episode of Star Wars, and it's not because and it's not because I don't want to, because I actually like movies like that. But I don't have the patience to sit through movies. I have very short attention spans, and I don't really like to watch movies.
Wow.
But no, I haven't seen Star Wars.
I mean, you
Well, that
should.
makes-
It's about a senator who rises to power by using fear of a minority to gain control over the government. I mean, honestly, like it doesn't
What?
get any better
Yeah.
than that.
Stop it.
Except the one issue I have with Star Wars though is that they kind of glorify the Force as a religion, and they kind of use a religion to take, and that bugs me.
What is going on here? This is not what I expected this conversation to be.
It's the whole.
At all. What the hell are you guys talking about?
Yeah,
Well, you
that's
have to
what
see
Star
it to
Wars is.
understand.
You got to watch them. This Tom, honestly, like this is why I think pop culture is so important. Is because of how you can make it relate to everything else in your life with just
sure.
a little bit of thought to it. Like it's a very serious thing to me. Like if you're well grounded, if you're well read and well watched, then putting this stuff together in really new and meaningful and interesting ways is awesome.
And I, believe it or not, despite the lack of knowledge I have in movies, I completely agree. I completely agree with you. Like I said, I don't have it. I don't want to make excuses because you can go through a list. I've never seen The Godfather.
Please don't do this list.
Don't do this now.
Stop.
No.
I like you.
We're
I want to
okay.
continue liking you. We're fine. We're fine.
Our audience
It's been
just
in good
started
jest
liking
until
you.
now.
Jeez.
I don't want.
Never seen The Bournes. Any of those? No, never seen
But those
Die
have
Hard
Matt
or Fast and
Damon.
Furious. Fuck Matt Damon.
Love Matt Damon.
Oh no.
Oh, you're killing me, Tom. You're killing
never
me.
saw
I'm
Fast
like
and
6 hours
Furious.
away. I can come there,
Oh, boy.
slap you, and be home in time to go to bed.
You could.
And he'll do it because he's petty.
You could.
Yeah, Kevin's petty. You don't know.
And then while
He'll do it.
while you're breaking into my house, I just keep reading the list of movies I haven't seen.
And the cops will
it's a
have
long
no
list.
problem convicting me because I will have recorded it and put it up on Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon gold.
Patreon content. There you go.
Oh man.
Yeah, so now you guys know what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
So that was everything I had to yell at you about so far.
Yeah,
Tom.
yeah.
I'm sure I'll have a full list
Awesome.
later.
Oh, I'm sure of it. Yeah, I'm sure of it. Just give time. Give a few more episodes with a few more drinks that we, our show, and listen to the shit that I'm gonna probably say. And you'll probably hear me talk about movies again because we're gonna be introducing pop culture into our show like, as a permanent fixture. So this
Yeah.
is problematic.
Awesome.
Well, good.
There was one question that y'all answered, I think, on your latest episode or the one before that I wanted to bring up and how wrong y'all are. But I was gonna, I don't know how wrong. Whatever. Kevin's probably gonna side with y'all anyways. But I wanted to ask how old are y'all, or like what age range are y'all? Y'all
We're both 26.
are
Yeah.
okay with asking
Yeah,
that?
both 26.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Why?
Then your answers was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. The question you answered was a Twitter question, and it was, which is the best gaming console? And why don't you give our audience your answers? And I was just curious, or whatever answer you're thinking of
I
right
was
now.
just saying, I
but-
don't remember. Did we talked about this?
Yeah.
Oh
That
shit.
was
This is the
literally,
problem
like,
about
last
drinking when you
episode.
record. Yeah.
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 Austin, go ahead. Refresh my memory by.
I mean, you can give a new answer. I don't care, but like, I just
No, I'm
wanted
just trying to think. No,
to hear
I'd like
y'all's-
to give the one we said. I just can't remember what. Oh, I think you said PC. I think that's what you said.
I probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably did.
And I think I said PS3. I think that's what I said.
Is that right?
I honestly don't remember though.
Was that right? I feel like a trivia question, but is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. You did say PC
Okay.
that because you're a PC gamer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think you did say PS3. I was gonna say PS2 because that's right before microtransactions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know what are you doing PC gaming? What do you PC game a whole lot? What's that going on?
I used to. Growing up, I used to play. I think the first game I ever grew up playing was RuneScape. I played
Okay.
RuneScape like religiously for a long, long time. Then I played this game called Empire Earth, which I don't expect anybody to know. It was a small game, but it was the founding father of Age of Empires, which most people seem to know.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So I played that. I played a lot of World of Warcraft for a long time. I played
For the
pretty
horde.
much. There you go.
Oh God. See?
I played pretty much any computer game I could find at one point or another.
Well, yeah, I remember. Yeah, you were really into computer games.
Delta Force was one. I remember. I don't remember.
Yeah, see, I barely play video games. That's
Yeah.
my problem.
But-
That's why I wouldn't know what the good one is.
I don't think I didn't. I had a Super Nintendo and then N64 and then a GameCube, which I explained to
Yeah.
Austin before. As
Oh, yeah, that's
as a
right.
as I thought that I was being a trendsetter, thinking, "Oh, this is the
game.
This is the direction of video games, everyone," which didn't work out. And then I went to PS2 and then Xbox 360, now Xbox One. But I think other than PC, I pretty much love my 360. I'd say, but I don't know.
Okay, cool. I'm trying to get them back on your side because you said the whole you didn't really watch any of these great movies like Star Wars or The Godfather.
But
so
you play
I guess
video
PC
games. You
gaming's-
have redeeming
PC gaming's your
qualities.
thing. Yeah.
I
There
play
you
video
go.
games quite a bit. I do play video games quite a bit, but recently I don't really play too much. I think most of what I play now is either going to be Halo or sport games. But
Sure.
that's
Always
it.
classic.
Yeah, of course, love Halo.
You got to get on that PUBG train, man.
Weren't you streaming with the Brain Trust Brothers?
Yeah, and then there's one of our fans. His name is Ron Swarthout. He has his own gaming channel on Twitch called War Trout Gaming, where I'll be joining him to play soon. Like Left 4 or no, not Left 4 Dead. What's it? Dead by Daylight.
There you go.
I think that was what it's called.
Oh,
Cool.
very cool.
That's awesome.
Games like that. Yeah, video games are fun.
There you go.
Movies are not so
So
fun.
you're nerdy. There
Okay,
you go.
don't start this because movies are amazing.
So,
You just need to
on
watch
a
them.
mostly positive note, I would like to thank you guys for coming on to the podcast.
Yeah, no problem.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. We'd love to come on
Yeah.
again so you could yell at me. I'm okay with being yelled at.
He's used to it by now.
Yeah, I'm very used to it. But
We'll
I
start a new
appreciate
weekly segment Tom hasn't watched.
fixing Tom's life with
Yeah.
Tom.
Boy, that would take forever.
Shut up, Austin. No one asked you. No, but for real, guys, thanks for having us on. Austin turned me on to your podcast quite a while ago. So whenever I get a chance, I listen. I love listening to you guys talk, even though I have no idea what you're talking about half the times. It is very
cool.
interesting, at least, which is really awesome.
Well, good. I'm glad. So for anybody that wants, you can find these guys at Dumb All Over Podcast. You can find Tom at, what was your separate podcast, Tom?
On Twitter, it's at podcast or assessment pod. Assessment pod, yeah. Because I was going through a couple different names, so I think I chose the at assessment pod.
Sure. So affirmative assessment. Austin, yours was music is the prime motivator or
Mover.
prime mover. All right, and then Modern History X for the two of you.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep,
Is there anything
absolutely.
else you guys want to plug while we're here?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, thanks for like I said, just thanks for having us on. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
See ya. So thanks to the guys over at Dumb All Over. Again, you can listen to them on iTunes and all this stuff. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, you can definitely find them there as well. They were super fun, and I really hope you enjoyed the interview. We're going to be back next week, of course, with Tim. We're going to be talking all the nerdy stuff that you really love. You can find us at Nerdy Things Pod, at Nerdy Things Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. NerdyThingsPod.com for Patreon stuff, links to our YouTube, all that good stuff, exclusive articles. Again, you can call us, text us, any way you want to reach us. Email us at nerdythingspod@gmail.com is another way you can do it. I'd like to thank Adipsia for the use of his song, Friends Don't Let Friends Go to TGI Fridays. You can hear more of his music at adipsia.bandcamp.com. He just released an album. I forgot because Tim's not here. He released an album, Imbue, and I can hear Tim all the way over there. Yeah. Saying that.
And I'd like to thank the Bell Curve for the music we use under the main topic. I'm going to try to have a link to their Vimeo video for that. And if you like them, you can figure out where to get them.
Awesome. So we'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.